Hello and welcome back to the Surfline Podcast. I am Surfline lead forecaster Kurt Corte, and I'm joined here in our Outer Banks, North Carolina office with forecaster Rob Mitzdifer. Rob, there's been a buzz here in the Outer Banks office over the past couple of days. What do we got going on this weekend?
Well, Kurt, we were just on the West Coast last week, and we came back and we're right back into an active pattern. What we got going on is a pretty potent low pressure system that's set to develop off the southeast United States coast this weekend, and really that's going to eventually spread swell throughout the western Atlantic. And Kurt, what are you kind of seeing that's unique about this system?
Yeah, so a lot of times we see these lows develop as they kind of move up into the northwest Atlantic off of New England, south of Nova Scotia. That's kind of a fairly typical zone where you see these pretty strong storms.
Yeah, it definitely is.
This guy, though, it's gonna form, like you said, off the southeastern U.S. coastline. Actually going to peak in strength as it's kind of to our south. The interaction between that and low, we have a pretty strong blocking high over New England. And in between those, we're going to kind of see these two main fetch regions that we're going to watch. They're going to provide some surf, as you said, for many locations along the western Atlantic. But a pretty unique scenario that can turn on some spots that maybe don't normally see that great surf.
Yeah, that's one of the things we're looking at. A lot of the East Coast and even the Caribbean has potential for fun or even good surf from this event. But there are a couple key areas that could be really just standout locations, and you can definitely check out the forecast on the Surfline website and even the app to dial in where we're kind of seeing as far as standout spots. And one of the things we do sometimes is look back at past storms that were actually really similar to what we're expecting. And Kurt, we were chatting about this in the office. One storm back in 2016 was actually pretty similar to this.
Yeah, that's right. Like we were saying, it's not an area where you normally see a system this strong. So your mind kind of goes back to your history here, and you kind of think back, well, where have I seen this before, and what did it produce for certain areas? And that specific case was a great example of one that turned on select zones into some pretty good surf. So definitely the potential for some good, even epic surf here from this. Not only down in the southern parts of the East Coast, but also some breaks up in the northern half of the East Coast. So you're definitely going to want to check out your forecast. There's going to be some windows over the weekend and even into next week from this. So definitely it's shaping up to be a pretty good wave event for many locations.
Yeah, like you said, Kurt, there's a certain type of event. We say a cold front pushing across the country sets up a southerly wind swell event. Those are pretty common. We have those pretty dialed in. Even your run-of-the-mill nor'easters, like you were mentioning, that push up off the New England coast into the northwest Atlantic. But this one is going to be quite a bit different, and that's kind of going to turn on some different zones than what we see normally, including the Caribbean as well as the East Coast.
Yeah, definitely. You're going to want to check out your premium forecast analysis and those colored boxes here as we really hone in on the days and times that will be the best. For Rob, I'm Kurt. Thanks for joining the Surfline Podcast.